Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starb.
Welcome back to the Follow Brand Podcast. I am Grant McGaugh, your host for the last 5 years. Yes, we are celebrating our 5th year, which starts June 1st, 2026. That's 262 episodes, I believe, of the Follow Brand Podcast consistently over that period of time. And today, we're going to talk about something that's been haunting me for probably the last 3 decades, if you can believe that. And it's finally, I've given it a name, and I'm going to call it the authority gap. So stay with me, because this might change how you think about your career, your business, and how your entire visibility strategy is showing up. Very, very important. So I want to start with the story, because this framework I'm about to introduce to you, the Brave Authority Index, it didn't come from a consultant's whiteboard. It came from real frustration that I had, real observation by watching other people, and real moments where I watched brilliant people get completely overlooked time and time again. So let me paint this picture for you. I spent 30 years in healthcare technology. 30 years. I've been in hospital systems, I've been in boardrooms, I've been in corporate boardrooms, I've been in enterprise systems over that period of time, whether they were healthcare startups, executive boardrooms, or the C-suite conversation about now, which is AI implementation, digital transformation, clinical integration, you name it. I have been in those discussions. And over those 3 decades, I have noticed something that kept happening over and over and over again. I would watch a brilliant health system CIO, someone with 20, 30, 35 years of expertise, known knowledge, very deep knowledge, real solutions, and they would struggle to get recognized in their own industry. Not because their solutions weren't good. They were exceptional, but because the market didn't have a way to discover them, didn't have a way to see their authority. They had expertise. They didn't have authority signals. Let's let that sink in. Authority signals, very, very important. And then recently, I relocated from Miami to Omaha, Nebraska, about last year. I think it was in March of 2025. And I started building something different, an AI powered business accelerator for entrepreneurs in North and South Omaha to start underserved communities, Black founders, Latino founders, people with real solutions to real problems. And this is what I discovered, which is the exact same pattern. I'd meet a Black founder in North Omaha, brilliant business model, real market fit, solutions that could transform how small business owners compete. But they didn't have the trust signals that investors, that, that partners and customers knew how to recognize. They had access to AI tools, but they didn't have authority infrastructure. And I started seeing this everywhere. It's not just a personal branding problem, it is an economic development problem. It is a trust infrastructure problem at its core. So I built a framework, and that's what I call the Brave Authority Index. And it's been tested in the field with real entrepreneurs, real businesses with real outcomes. So this isn't theory. This is what's actually happening right now in what I call the SMB market, right? Why this matters so much. Here's what has changed probably in the last 12 to 18 months. And I need you to fully hear what I'm saying about this. Artificial intelligence has made visibility cheap, inexpensive, if you will. And I mean that literally. The cost of content creation has dropped to near zero. So you can use ChatGPT, Gemini, or what have you, and other tools that can produce newsletters, videos, social posts, landing pages, email campaigns, sales scripts, all within minutes, hours, or even seconds. Right? What used to require a full creative team, one person can now do in an afternoon. And that is very, very powerful, right? It democratizes marketing at its core. It gives small businesses independent experts, underserved entrepreneurs now have access to these types of capabilities that used to be reserved for just enterprise organizations. But here is the problem. It also creates a flood of sameness, right? Everybody sounds the same. The market is completely saturated and absolutely saturated with a lot of unpolished or polished information, but completely generic in what its content is actually saying. So everyone looks the same, everyone sounds the same, and everyone is posting the same insights. And buyers are learning. Very important to understand this. Buyers are learning to distrust surface level expertise. Audience are becoming more selective. Search is shifting from lists of links to AI generated answers. Check out Google these days, right? And business development is shifting from cold outreach to trust-based relevance. Relevance is very important. And here's the real shift. Leadership reputation is becoming inseparable from digital discoverability, right? So you got to look at, do you have a gap between your leadership reputation and what you can find out about yourself in a digital discovery, search and social? What is it really saying about you or not saying about you? So the question is no longer, can this person be seen? The question is, can this person be believed? Authenticity is king right now. And that's where the authority gap comes in. The authority gap is the distance between how visible someone appears and how trusted they actually are, right? And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you are a healthcare executive and you're active on LinkedIn and you post twice a week and you've got a decent following and you show up at conferences so you're visible, right? But if you ask your audience, what does this person stand for? What problem do they solve? And why should you trust them? And the answer right now is unclear. If your audience can't answer those questions about you immediately, that is your authority gap. You're visible, but you're not trusted. And in an AI saturated market, that gap is where you lose opportunity. You lose revenue, you lose that upward mobility, right? So let's talk about the 5 dimensions of authority. So I built a framework to close that particular gap I just described. And it's called BRAVE. That is the BRAVE framework. In my book here, first slide, right? The BRAVE Path to Authentic Leadership. This is a narrative, but it teaches very, very valuable lessons, right? Because BRAVE is an acronym, not because it's complicated, it's simple, but it's also very comprehensive. BRAVE stands for 5 dimensions of market authority. That is B for boldness, R for resilience, A for authenticity, V for vision, and E for execution. And here's the thing about these 5 pillars, that they work all together. So the word brave, courageousness, right? You don't score high on boldness and low on execution and expect to convert visibility into opportunity, because they are integrated. So let's break each one of these down, right? So let's talk about boldness, right? Boldness is the clarity, conviction, and courage of your market position. How are you positioned in your market? And here's what boldness is not. I want you to take note of that. This is what boldness is not. It's not recklessness, and it's not arrogance, and I would say it is being more specific. Let's put it there. It's specificity, right? A healthcare executive known for digital transformation is generic, and that could be anybody. But a healthcare executive known for helping health systems close the gap between AI potential and clinical adoption reality, that's bold. That's specific. Boldness creates memorability, so it makes you memorable, right? It attracts the right audience and it repels the wrong one, which is actually a feature, not a bug. It's what you want to be able to do. When you're bold about who you serve and what the problem is that you solve, the people aren't your audience, right? The people who are not supposed to be there, they automatically will self-select out. It's exactly what you want. That's fine, because you're not trying to sell to everyone. You're trying to build authority within your specific market, right? So I want you to be able to answer some of these diagnostic questions around boldness. Can your audience explain what you stand for in one sentence? Do you have a distinct market position, or are you competing as a generalist? Is your point of view, your POV, strong enough to attract the right audience and repel the wrong one? And does your content sound like you? Or could it belong to anyone else in your field? If you can answer these questions clearly, you've got boldness. Be honest with yourself. This is an exercise that you look in your own mirror and determine if you have these values. Boldness is clarity. Next is resilience. This is around the reputation that survives when you're not even in the room. Resilience is the strength and durability that your reputation across time, across platforms, market shifts, in moments of pressure. Resilience is not dependent on any one platform. It's not dependent on any one algorithm. It's not dependent on any one viral post. A resilient authority brand has depth. It has multiple platforms, and it has consistent publishing history. It has third-party validation. It has case studies. It has testimonials. It has media mentions. It has speaking engagements. When you build resilience, your reputation holds up when someone conducts independent research. It survives algorithm changes. It survives market shifts. So I'll give you a real world example. And I've been in healthcare technology for 30 years. That's resilience. I've got a Thinkers 360 recognition as an expert. That's third-party validation. That's resilience. I published a book, which I just showed you, First Light. That's evergreen proof. I host a podcast with now over 260 episodes. That's consistent evidence of thought leadership over time. That's resilience. So let's ask some questions around that, the diagnostic questions. Is your authority, and I want you to ask these questions to yourself as you look at your own business or your own career. Is your authority dependent on one platform or one algorithm? Does your reputation hold up when buyers conduct independent research? And that will happen anytime you're going to get a grant or apply for a grant. If you're looking to get a capital raise, they're going to do due diligence. Any kind of partnership arrangement, you've got to make sure that your reputation is going to hold up under that independent research. And do you have a record of adapting to major market shifts? What does that really look like? Or are you just linear in your approach? And can your brand withstand scrutiny from very sophisticated buyers? Somebody that actually wants to acquire your business. What does that really look like from that other lens? Very, very important. So that's going to lead into authenticity, which is your voice or your brand voice aligned with reality? Then you've got to do your own measurement, right? So authenticity is the alignment between what you say and then what you have lived, what you deliver, and how the market experiences you. And here's what's very, very important. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing. It doesn't mean posting your entire life on LinkedIn. It means coherence, your story, your expertise, your values, your offers, your voice, and your proof must align. And I could tell you about a lot about technology transformation because I've actually spent 30 years in technology. So I've seen this change over a large bandwidth of time. And AI is no different, even though it is a platform shift. Is moving from the internet age of what I call information technology into the intelligent technology phase as a platform. And that is why this is so important. Look how dependent right now you are in the internet. The internet is cut off, what happens? And this is happening now within the AI world. If you don't have access to these tools and all of a sudden you can use them anymore, what does that really look like? Or will look like? Because all of these different systems that we're using every day, from enterprise business to government to public-private sector to the small business world, is going to be utilizing artificial intelligence. So I can talk about AI implementation for Main Street America because I relocated here and built an accelerator for underserved entrepreneurs right here locally. And I could talk about personal branding in the AI era because I've lived enough through the entire evolution of visibility and trust dynamics. I got involved in what we call social selling in the digital realm in 2014. This is 2026. I have a 12-year history in this type of work. That's something I just started doing 2, 3, or even 4 years ago. That is coherence, and that is authenticity. In an AI saturated world, audiences learn to detect empty palettes. They can feel when someone is performative, and they know when someone is just repeating what they read online. Authenticity is the antidote to that. It's when your audience can feel a real human behind your content. So we're going to ask those same type of questions. I want you to ask us about your own brand, your own presence. What are you saying about yourself? And is there a gap between what you see online and what you live every day? Does your brand reflect your lived experience and actual expertise? Can people feel a real human behind your particular content? And are your claims backed by examples, verifiable examples, stories, or evidence? And are your values visible in your business model and client delivery? And as we move from that boldness, right, that resilience, that authenticity, now we can open up our vision. We can start seeing the future and start looking at what's relevant and what's important. Vision is the ability to interpret where the market is going and where we can help others to prepare for it. I am in the unique position to be able to mentor my own self 5 years ago. What was I doing in 2021? What was I doing in COVID, pre-COVID, right after COVID? And where am I doing now? And that 5-year body of work, that's the Follow Rand podcast of itself. It's 260 episodes of me interviewing professionals throughout the world. I didn't just go out and say, hey, I'm the #1 personal brand expert by FeedSpot because I just said that. That's because they've done the due diligence and looked at my particular statistics, and then they came to that determination themselves. Thinkers 360 did the same thing. Like, wow, this guy is very consistent. He's very relevant. He knows what he's talking about. We will give him an expert status. Elite expert is what they gave me in Thinkers 360, also at that #1 level. I love that, but I earned that because I am doing the hard work. Authority leaders don't only explain the present, they help the market also see the future, and they give the audience language for a future they can feel, but also they may not understand it right where we are right now. So in 2026, AI is changing how work is structured, how buyers make decisions, how brands are discovered, and how trust is evaluated. I want you to understand this. Our quality of work, our day-to-day activities, especially most of us now are what we call digital workers. So if that digital world changes, ultimately our whole platform changes. What does it change into is very, very important to understand. It's not about, oh, I don't like AI, I don't want to use it. Well, you may not. You may not like Microsoft, but I guarantee you a lot of people use it. You may not be a lover of Google, but I guarantee you a lot of people use it. You may not like Uber, but guess what? A lot of people use it. A lot of people will be using AI. It will be all around us if it not already is and become ubiquitous to what we do on a daily basis. Very, very important. So if you are a leader, a business owner, an entrepreneur, you can feel something shifting and changes. You know that AI is going to change your industry, but you might not have the language for it yet, and you might not know how to prepare for this new reality. So a visionary leader will give you that language, that framework, that roadmap, and that's vision, right? So we ask ourselves these questions again. Are you interpreting the market change, or are you only reacting to it? Do you have a clear view of how AI will affect your audience's future, your business future, your company's future, the market that you're in? What does that future look like? And are you giving people language, frameworks, and decisions that they can use? Can your audience associate you with a future facing idea, right? And that then will lead into execution. your activity, your ability. You're bringing it all to the table now, right? You're executing on what you're doing. The authority pipeline is now built. And this is where most leaders right now that I can tell, they fall short in the execution phase. This is the implementation phase. This is where the rubber meets the road. How are you showing up on the field? What does that really look like? Execution is the discipline of converting the authority into action. I'll say that again. Execution is the discipline of converting authority into action, into relationships, into revenue, into partnerships, and measurable outcomes. Many leaders have insight. Many leaders have great content. Many leaders are visible. Fewer turn that into repeatable business development systems. Very important. Execution is where the brand becomes a business engine. You've got a LinkedIn post that resonates. Great, great. But is it connected to a clear offer? Is there a next step? Do you have a system for turning that conversation into a pipeline? You've got a podcast that people listen to. Wonderful. But does every episode have a call to action? Are you measuring how that visibility converts into opportunities? Execution means consistent publishing cadence. It's a clear offer architecture, a CRM. That is a customer relationship management tool, a CRM or relationship management process, a lead magnet or conversion asset, speaking in webinar strategies, case studies and proof assets, or measuring your pipeline contribution in a repeatable follow-up system. And here's the thing. Execution is where the magic truly happens, because visibility without execution is what I call wasted effort. Authority without follow-up leaves money on the table. Authority without follow-up leaves money on the table. So we also have to ask ourselves the hard question. Does your visibility create measurable business opportunities? Is your content connected to a clear offer or a next step? Do you have a system for turning conversations into pipeline? And can you measure how authority contributes to revenue, partnerships, or influence? So those are what I call the 5 pillars. That's brave, right? Because if you can do all these things I'm talking about, you're running, right? You're making strides. You're making waves. You're making it happen. You have boldness. You have resilience. You have authenticity. You have vision. And you have execution, no matter what the challenge in front of you may be. And I'll share with you one other key insight to that. They all have to work together. You cannot be brave and be missing any one of those pieces, right? You're not trying to get 100 on just one of those pillars. No, I'm bold, but I don't have resilience. No, I'm even bold, I'm resilient, but I don't have vision or execution. You have to have all of it. You're trying to get balanced excellence across all 5 of these, right? Person told me a long time ago, it was so important. So you may have a cell phone. Yeah, I got a cell phone, right? And you got 10 digits on that cell phone. Like, yep, I got 0 through 9 on my phone. He said, but can you call me up? You cannot dial my number or get a hold of me or communicate with me unless you have my exact digits. The Brave framework is the exact digits you need to dial up the result that you're looking to achieve. That is what I'm trying to tell you. And I'll be honest with you, I took a look at it even myself. What did I look like across these pillars, right? And I didn't just build a framework and ask someone else to just use it. I use it on myself. This is how I do business, right? So even with my own score, looking at this as 120 out of 20 for all 5 pillars, I came out to about a score about 88. That's what I self-graded myself at, right? Well, puts me, I call myself in the category authority, right? Range, about kind of where I'm at. Meaning I shape market conversations and I generate trust before the sale, and I'm converting reputation into measurable growth. But here's what gets interesting. I'm not 100 out of 100. I'm about 19 on boldness. What I would call my AI implementation for Main Street America as a category phrase. That is bold. Technology plus personal branding is a distinctive combination that I have. But there's probably room to sharpen it even further, maybe into my verticals of healthcare, my personal branding, and also my investment banking world. What does that look like, right? Resilience, I'm scoring about an 18 out of 20. What does that mean? That's 30 years in technology, right? Technology applications for enterprise business. And then the Thinkers 360 recognition that I have. In the HIMSS world, HIMSS is the Health Informatics Systems Society, which is a large organization for healthcare technology. I am a fellow, right? This is my resilience. I have my podcast, I have my book, I have multiple platforms that I'm visible on, I have multiple proof points. But honestly, I could probably deepen my thought leadership publication strategy a little deeper to get more. There's always a plus element. There's always something more you can do once you realize how you can move the needle. And then authenticity, that's 17 out of 20. Now, to a lot of people about my father's story, his death from a preventable healthcare system failure that drove everything that I do even today. I don't want anyone to have to go through that. Those are things that are fixable if we take the time to do that. That's visible in my work. Now, Omaha is my mission that is visible right now. My voice is getting stronger in that world as far as what I do because they see value in what I can bring to the table. But I could probably do a little bit more in some of my publishing and then become more vulnerable in that world and to say what it needs to be said, because a lot of people have had some trauma, some drama in their lives that are kind of independently driving them, subconsciously driving them, and they need to be more authentic and take ownership of that and try to turn that pain into something more profitable for themselves, right? Then we work into vision, which is 18 out of 20 according to my particular scoring. And that's the Brave Authority Index itself, my flagship asset, especially here in 2026. And I'm interpreting how AI is changing authority and trust dynamics. And I'm positioning myself as the guide, not a participant. But I could probably be more explicit about the longer term implications around it. What would that look like over time? 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years. And it's hard to tell because of all the changing dynamics in our own world. But we got to keep the ship going toward the goal. And that's how we execute. Right now, I'm scoring, I give myself a 16 out of 20. This is the field I need to even be better at in the execution phase. But my thought leadership is pretty strong. My assessment, I call it, is launching. And my follow-up systems are scaling, but I think I need to be better with my CRM, which is customer relation management tooling. It can be a little bit more sophisticated than I have. And my sequences could be more automated. And this is agentic AI. A lot of people are starting to toy with it in the back end. That's what I'm doing to grow 5-star BDM on a national and international basis. So I give myself an 88. And that number matters because it's not 100. So you have to be honest in your scoring and what that really looks like. Because I've learned that by taking this kind of assessment myself, that perfection is not really the goal. The intentionality, how intentional are you, is really very important. So you may be an 88. I would say you're doing well. And I would say you're probably top tier if you're at that 88 there. But you're also acknowledging that there's room to grow. And I feel that's an honest conversation we need to have about authority. We don't need to be perfect. We need to be intentional. If you want to write that down, you must be intentional. So one of the case studies that I've worked with to really give me some context, because I want you to show how this works in practice. There was a company that I worked with a few years ago, and they did a lot in the software development field. And they had a problem. They were positioned as a commodity IT vendor, right? Very generic. And they looked like probably 50 other tech firms are out there, maybe probably even more. They were competing on price because pricing has dropped like a rock in software engineering, software development, with the development of AI. And people can vibe code, they can do code, especially now with Claude out here now and some other applications. Like that's driving the market down, right? So what are you going to do? So they were making cold calls at that time, and they had some steady business, but they were not growing. It was kind of like neutral, right? And more importantly, they weren't being recognized for their deeper expertise. They just weren't creating software to create software. They did have software provisions that were I would say, was a key differentiator for themselves. You have to have a differentiation and be able to communicate that differentiation at scale. So they knew they had something, I would say, was special for what they did, but the market, their messaging didn't see it. All they saw was commoditized software engineering firm, right? So they had to change that. So we took them through the Brave framework, right? So first, instead of positioning them as IT consultant, we repositioned them as an AI powered business transformation for, I would say, in health systems, navigating the clinical integration challenge. So it got a little bit more specific than just IT consulting. What exactly you're consulting on? I see that even in the coaching world. What are you coaching on? Just because you say yourself as a coach, are you a football coach? You're a basketball coach? You're a baseball coach? What type of coaching are you doing? And is that visible to people? So we had to develop the thesis, what I say a signature thesis, and that in their particular case, that understanding AI adoption fails when health systems focus on technology first and then change management second. And we flip that. So that becomes like a tagline, right? What you're known for. They're able to take that from our change management world, so just the tech itself. And that resonated with a lot of people because they've been through that, right? So they became, I would say in that particular conversation, that became what was bold about them. That became what was specific about them. That differentiated them from the other 50 other IT vendors who had not owned their messaging. Very important. Then we had to get resilient. So instead of relying on just sales calls, they built a reputation asset stack. Whoa, what's that? That's thought leadership articles within their industry, right? Speaking engagements at a lot of these industry conferences. They started a podcast featuring many healthcare CIOs discussing their AI readiness challenges, and they built case studies showing specific outcomes. And the founders' credibility became visible across multiple platforms for endless time. All right, not dependent on any one single channel. So it's on LinkedIn, it's on YouTube, it's on their own particular website. So it is visible for the audience to consume, not only in real time, but for the future as well. So then we had to work on authenticity. So the founder connected his 20 plus years in IT background directly to his point of view. This is very important, your POV. And what he said was, I've seen IT implementation succeed and fail. The difference isn't the technology. It's whether leaders understand that AI adoption is a change management challenge wearing a technology costume. I want that to sink in with people, because that's exactly what the AI world is, change management. We're not ready for this kind of change. We're used to doing things a certain way, at a certain time, a certain rhythm, a certain harmony. Now AI is changing. It's a disruptive force. And you cannot just go back to what you're doing before and slap AI on top of that. You're going to have to change some things. Because if you don't, it's going to fail, or you're not going to get the outcomes you were looking to gain because you haven't really changed at your core. So that's very specific. And what I call that is a lived experience from the founder point of view. And that became a big differentiator. So when it comes down to vision, they began to publish that foresight, begin to get it out as content, right? The 3 waves of healthcare AI adoption, why your AI roadmap will fail without this, and on and on and on. They position themselves as guides to a future, not participants in the present, right? Every piece of content gave health system leaders language and frameworks they could actually use. And that led us to execution. Here's the kicker, right? Every piece of thought leadership connected to a clear next step. Where do we go from here? Every LinkedIn post had a call to action. Let's talk about your AI readiness. Right? Every article had a next step. Every speaking engagement converted into conversations. Right? They built a repeatable follow-up system. They tracked how authority contributed to pipeline, sales opportunities, which leads us to results. What happened? They had a 40% increase in their lead generation from thought leadership that continues. It's like a flywheel. It continues to grow for them versus just cold outreach, right? Who wants to just bang up cold emails and phone calls and actually get through to your target audience? It's very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. This is a much easier process to get you there, right? 25% of their new client contract came from inbound entrants. See, instead of them reaching out, they're reaching back in. You push out knowledge, information, experience, wisdom, what you can do, and it attracts those kind of new clients that are coming back in you from inbound interest. And that's a growth rate from, I think before it was maybe 8%, now it grew to 25%, right? And then a 75% improvement in brand recall around other CIOs. So if somebody says your name in context, you're not there, people actually know who you're talking about. That's huge, 75% improvement. Instead of like, well, who are they? What do they do? I don't know nothing about, never heard of them. You don't want that, especially when you're not there. That is what branding is all about. Brand is in the mind of your ideal client. And if you don't exist in that thought process, then you do have a problem. That's an authority gap. And they also experienced a 50% increase in digital engagement. So they're getting engagement across all those different channels. Remember, this is happening constantly, constantly. I've been doing podcasting for 5 years. I have over 260 episodes. I have over 50 some thousand people have downloaded those particular episodes over time. It's constantly selling on my behalf without me having to physically be there in real time. And guess what? I get contacted all the time. Whether there's a DM, a direct message, it's a phone call, it's an email. Grant, can you work with me? I like what you're talking about. Can we set up a meeting? This is constant. This is what you want because that is already vetted. People that are just not interested in what you're doing to people that absolutely are interested in what you're doing, and you're spending more time with those types of clients. And that's the power of the BRAVE framework in practice. And here's what's important about this case study I just talked about. It's not just a fancy personal branding agency. We're not talking about that. They're not, and this particular tech company, they were not a consulting firm. They had a bunch, whether they were doing it for celebrities or influencer marketing or anything like that. They were a real B2B IT company, very practical, very results oriented. And when they applied these 5 pillars, their entire business model shifted. That's what I call authority delivery or authority branding in this world, even for business and personal. That's what it does for you if applied correctly, right? So as we now get into this next phase, especially here in Omaha, Nebraska, as I get ready to launch our first cohort, that is the Omaha AI Marketing Accelerator for small businesses here in North and South Omaha. So we've been talking about this, this Brave Authority Index, like it's a framework, and it is, but it's also real world proof. That's what my accelerator is. And this is where this framework gets tested in the field. We launched this program, I think, when I first got here and got, we wanted this 8-week cohort. We wanted 10 businesses per cohort. We focused on North and South Omaha neighborhoods that have been traditionally underserved by the entrepreneur support systems that are out there. And this is how we're going to use Brave. So every single participant we touch and talk to about these AI tools, they understand how they're going to be able to use it. We're going to talk about automation tools. We're going to talk about the marketing software. We're going to talk about how the Brave Authority Assessment works and how we're doing it with our business partner, which is BizHack, who's been doing this for a number of years and gotten government recognition at the federal level. So they can find out, are they clear or are they generic in their current branding? Are you a single platform? Are you a multi-platform business? Is your voice authentic or is it polished? Is your positioning future ready or is it reactive? Does your visibility convert to outcomes or are you just visible or invisible? And then say to yourself, okay, now it's time to build. I understand where we're at, and I also understand where we need to go, right? Because here, what I learned here so far in Omaha, that is critical. AI access alone is not enough. Entrepreneurs need more than just tools. They need authority, infrastructure. They need to know how to explain who they are, what problem they solve, why customers should trust them, and how their business creates value, and how to follow up on that business opportunity. And we built the accelerator around this Brave framework, also the lead building system from BizHack Academy. So every week, we're going to address these types of things. We're going to address your positioning. Is it bold enough? Do you have a market thesis? What is your personal story? Who do you serve and what problem do you have? We're going to talk about in week 3, your resilience. How are you building proof? Can you build case studies? Can you create customer, or can you curate customer testimonials? And do you have any type of third-party validation? Someone else has to say you are good. From a authority asset that says, hey, I'm an authority in my field, and this person over here is good, and they'll be able to help you. That is what a third-party validation is. We're going to talk about authenticity. Again, your voice, your values, making sure your brand reflects your reality. When we get into your vision and your AI readiness, are you really ready to deploy AI in your business? Or are you just really just curious about it? Are you ready to roll up your sleeves and actually get out there, right? So you can have a future-facing positioning that's going to help customers understand where the market is going. You have to have a relevant story, an interesting story, something that's insightful and authentic that comes from your expertise. And then we're going to execute on that by creating content. We're going to look at your CRM, which is your customer relation management tool, your follow-up systems, converting visibility into business development. And then we got to get into integration. We've got to bring it all together so we can measure the return on investment time and investment capital. And that's what we're doing right now in Omaha as we build out these cohorts. If you're not in the first one, don't worry. We're going to do this over at least a 2 to 3 year period. And you're going to be constantly having cohorts sign up, get involved, and upskill on these levels. And these are the 3 things I want you to understand. You have to have tools and understand these tools, but you must have skill sets. I'm transferring a skill set to you. So at the end of the day, you will be able to utilize these tools at scale, right? And they have the mind shift change that needs to take place because this is a platform change, right? So your mindset, your skill set, and your tool set have to be in congruence of what you're doing as you look at the design, the creativity, and the analytical outputs that you're going to have from an AI perspective. So if you're coming right now from a generic business consulting messaging or whatever it may be and what that looks like, we need to take this to another level. We need to understand proof of work. So it's just not a theory that you're talking about. You're talking about real world application in real neighborhoods with real businesses with real outcomes in your messaging. And that's what the Omaha AI Marketing Accelerator is central to what my mission is as we start to build out this business to be a center of excellence here in the Midwest, because authority building isn't a luxury for many businesses or executives. It's infrastructure for everyone. As you heard over and over, they're building out all these big data centers all over the world to create this AI platform, right? This is infrastructure. What is the infrastructure that you're building on? Just on not on the tool set, but in skill set and in mindset is very, very important. And that must include you. It must include our entrepreneurs in the Omaha area. It's very, very important. So if you understand that Brave is about building authority and what that really looks like and what you can get out of that when you start to really do your assessment around your brand or your authority gap, I want you to understand the visibility gap. A leader is active online. That could be you. You're posting, right? You're visible, right? But they're not known for a specific idea. They're just out there. They're very generic. That could belong to anyone in their field. Anyone can own that intellectual property, copyright, trademark. Well, anybody can just scrape that, as they would say, because you haven't differentiated yourself. So you got to get bold. You got to develop a signature marketing thesis and own that specific problem. Gap number two, the credibility gap. A leader must make strong claims. I'm an expert in AI adoption. I help health systems transform. I am the best at X. But if you lack proof, no case studies, no testimonials, no third-party validation, well, guess what? You're not going to be believable. So you got to build that resilience. You got to create the proof architecture and get external validation. Number three, the authenticity gap. And a leader's content is published. It could be polished. It's professional, but it lacks lived experience. It lacks voice. It lacks human resonance. It sounds like it could have been written by anyone or by AI, or honestly, who knows? But you've got to strengthen that authenticity. You've got to connect your story to your expertise and let your voice come through. Very, very important. Gap number four, the strategy gap. A leader produces content, a lot of content, but it doesn't connect to a business development system. Do you have a system is very, very important. You can be visible, but visibility isn't converting to sales pipeline. Build execution, connect every piece of content to a clear offer, create a repeatable follow-up system, which is going to lead you to number five, which is the AI readiness gap. And a leader who uses AI, you could be using ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud, Perplexity, there's a ton of them out there. There are all kinds of tools to produce content in marketing, but they lack a responsible, trust-centered framework for how AI supports their brand, their content, their sales, and their client delivery. So we've got to fix all of these things. And you've got to be able to utilize all five of the Brave pillars to create a framework where AI enhances human authority, not replacing it. And here's the thing. Most leaders have at least one of these gaps, maybe three. So the Brave assessment is designed to help you see what gap is yours. And then we give you a roadmap to close them. So if you are looking to enhance your personal brand, you can go to my assessment at 5starbdm.com. If you're looking to enhance your business brand, you can go to the business brand questionnaire. All of these are a couple of assessments that will help you. And then right on my website, 5starbdm, you have my AI agent. You can ask it anything. It will be able to help you. Sentinel is there to help you to get started, to begin to understand. So when you engage with me, you're ready to put forth the best effort. And this is why this matters right now. And let me be absolutely clear why I'm bringing this to you right now in 2026. There are three forces reshaping how authority works. Force number one, AI is democratizing visibility. Anyone can create content. Anyone can automate messaging. Anyone can personalize at scale. This used to be impossible, but now, today, it's easy. And that is good. It's democratizing a lot of things, but it's also creating a lot of noise, right? Number two, force number two, buyers are getting smarter. Buyers now conduct reputation due diligence before they ever talk to you. They search your name. They review your LinkedIn. They scan your podcast appearances. They look at who trusts you. They can spot inconsistency and they can see when something is performative, right? So force number three is trust is becoming scarce. Trust is becoming scarce. In a world of infinite content and infinite noise, the one thing that is becoming scarce is trust. So the market is asking a different question now. Not how visible are you, but how trustworthy are you? And that's where Brave comes in, because you can't manufacture trust. You can't automate it. You can't fake it. You build it through clarity, through consistency, through credibility, through authenticity, through vision, through disciplined execution. That's why the Brave Authority Index is all about. And that's what I'm committed to giving to each and every one of you. And this is what I'm inviting you to do right now. Go to 5-Star BDM, right? Go to where it says there on the services. Take the personal brand questionnaire or take the business brand questionnaire. It's free. It takes about 10, 15 minutes or as much time as you want to go into. It's about 12 questions each. You'll get a score. I will then bring that back to you. I'm going to give you this assessment free of charge. It's going to be a very in-depth study at a mature level. It's going to show you your strongest and weakest pillars and some recommendations. You don't have to act on anything, but you'll know where you stand. And I would say, as you read through it, you're going to get a better understanding of where you need to go. You're going to get a better understanding of where you sit. And that's what's very important, to understand where you sit now in relation to your goals, right? So, and if you're interested in the workshop, please email me. You can see it actually on the website itself in the business accelerator. We're building out our cohorts. There's a wait list there as well. You can sign up. You can take our assessment. We'll begin to get back to you and make sure that either you're in the next cohort or the one that's coming up, but we'll be able to help you. And if you want one-on-one consulting with myself, I will work with you as well. So this program is built for you to help you execute at scale. We're going to build out your positioning. We're going to create some proof architecture. We're going to develop your content strategy, and we're going to integrate it into your back-end systems and follow-up systems. So if you're in Omaha, definitely we want to get you into the accelerator. For someone else, please, I'm involved with accelerators out of Miami as well. And those are more national in scope, and about a 4-week course. So there's a lot of things happening now. I'm helping you to upskill where you're at. So understanding where the tool sets are situated in your business, how you can utilize them, the skill sets that you're going to acquire. Because at the end of the day, if you don't acquire a skill set, you're just going through theoretical knowledge. I'm into applied knowledge. So if you are resonating with applied knowledge in the AI world to grow sales, marketing, and revenue, then this is something you might want to get involved in. So please contact me. I'm going to sign off right now. Again, this is our 5th year of doing this in the Follow Brand. We're looking forward to another 5+ years in doing this. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Continue to be watchful for what we're doing in the future, and I will keep you up to speed because we are in a changing, dynamic world every single day. And I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Follow Brand Podcast. Remember, you can see all the episodes that we've ever done at 5starbdm.com. That is the number 5. That is star, STAR, B for brand, D for development, and for masters.com. Again, this is Grant McGaw, and I want to thank you so much for being with us.
BDM.com today to learn more.
Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaw, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius is coming. Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you.
In today's AI-saturated marketplace, being talented is no longer enough. Exceptional professionals are often drowned out by a flood of content, not because they lack intelligence or purpose, but because they lack the authority signals that the modern market can recognize and trust. As Grant McGaw, founder of 5-Star BDM, has observed over 3 decades in healthcare and technology leadership, visibility is now just the starting point. Authority is the true differentiator. The Brave Authority Index is a groundbreaking framework designed to help executives, entrepreneurs, and business development professionals stand out in a noisy digital world. BRAVE stands for boldness, resilience, authenticity, vision, and execution. This index doesn't just measure how visible you are. It evaluates how much the market is willing to trust you before a sales conversation even begins. In an era where AI can amplify anyone's reach, only genuine authority can convert that reach into real opportunities and lasting influence. Let's break down the 5 pillars. First, boldness is about clarity and specificity. Instead of vague claims like, "I do digital transformation," it's about stating, "I help health systems close the gap between AI potential and clinical adoption reality." This attracts the right audience and repels the wrong one. Second, resilience means your reputation holds up under scrutiny, regardless of platform or trend. Third, authenticity is coherence between your story, expertise, values, and proof. In a world full of AI-generated polish, authenticity is about alignment, not oversharing. Fourth, vision is about giving your audience a framework for the future, helping them prepare for what's next. Finally, execution is where authority becomes a business engine, translating trust into meetings, partnerships, and measurable outcomes. Consider Agile Infoways, once a generic healthcare tech provider. By applying the BRAVE framework, they shifted from posting more to posting with conviction and business relevance. The results? A 40% increase in lead generation, 75% boost in brand recall among healthcare CIOs, and a significant rise in digital engagement. Authority, not just visibility, drove these outcomes. In the AI era, the market doesn't need more content, it needs more conviction. As Grant McGaw puts it, the future belongs to leaders who are brave enough to build authority before they need it. Audiences will increasingly ask, who can I trust? Who has lived the work? Who can turn visibility into value? Most professionals don't have a visibility problem. They have an authority gap. The Brave Authority Index offers a proven roadmap to close that gap and build lasting trust.